Welcome back. My name is Tyler, and this is part 2 of my manga retrospective of Beet the Vandel Buster. Last time, we talked about the characters, the world, and the first chapter of the story. Now, let's continue talking about this great story by picking up at chapter 2. So after training for 3 years, our boy has finally made his return back to his hometown. We see Beet's childhood friend and the woman he's going to marry someday sniffing out some monsters and kicking ass. These monsters are called Dramen, and they can take on the appearance of humans, although they can't remove their smell. At the appraiser's house, she gains her level branding for her accomplishments and also some cash. But while she's there though, Pola is feeling confident and she takes up the bounty for a vandal despite the appraiser's caution. She thinks to herself that with the aid of fellow busters she'll be fine, but it turns out that it was all a trap orchestrated by the vandal Mugain. Or is it Mugain? Yeah, so everybody, including the vandal himself, calls him Mugain, but for some reason the bounty says Mugain. I don't know why, but I think an answer that I suppose could be possible is that since we're in the post-apocalypse now, and there's no uniformity or standardization with writing anymore, that people just write things the way they think they sound. And this used to be like in the old world, like hundreds of years ago, well maybe not even hundreds ago, maybe less than hundreds of years ago, where again, they're just some good examples where people just wrote things how they thought they sounded was color and center, for example. That's my reasoning why there's this difference, the Mugain. Maybe it actually is Mugain, but that's how they spelled it. I think that could be possible, but there just isn't, as far as I can tell, enough of this reflected in the story. So, although it is possible, this could also very possibly just be a fuck up. Anyway, with Pola captured by Mugain, things are looking dreary. But thankfully, our boy finally makes his entrance to save the day. Mugain is surprised by the arrival of Beet, but on close inspection of his buster level, he regains his confidence. This was a mistake. Beet and Pola start whooping some butt. Beet pulls out his Saiga. Sega! Again, it's Saiga, not Sega. Beet then proceeds to decimate his opponent with his burning lance, and now Mugain is defeated. After this, Beet and Pola then return back to town to see Auntie and Uncle. Beet then reveals that he's returned back to his hometown for a specific purpose, that being that he is saying goodbye. I know that may sound confusing, but I'll explain. Even though 3 years have passed, Beet has not lost his desire for justice. He has committed himself to fighting against the Vandals until they go or he goes. Knowing that the possibility of him being killed while in this pursuit is very high, he has returned to say goodbye to the family that has raised him while he's still breathing. Pola, though, isn't happy about this. At this time, Pola's and Beet's reasons for becoming busters are different. Beet became a buster to bring justice. Pola became a buster to survive. Unable to settle this conflict, Beet then leaves his town, and he then confronts the healed Mugain. This time, though, Beet is the one that is feeling cocky, and he would have died without the intervention of Pola. Working together, Mugain is defeated, and of course, Beet gets berated for his recklessness. Pola and Beet then join as the Beet Warriors, and as they leave, Pola basically reveals that her reason for joining Beet is not because she all of a sudden changed her mind about justice, but it is truly because she loves him, and she wants to be there to keep him safe. This whole Mugain conflict is basically here to explain why people become busters and what a buster is. Individuals become busters for idealistic and practical reasons. They become busters for idealistic reasons because they want to fight against evil, and they become busters for practical reasons because they want food, they want money, and they want to survive. These two mindsets are exemplified by Beet and Pola respectively, and it is only when these two mindsets are put together that you get the buster. To really explain, it's like it's all good that you want to fight against evil, but if you don't get food on your plate, you're gonna die before you can do that. Now off on their adventure, Beet reveals to Pola how exactly he came to have his 5 Saiga, and they then fight a giant beetle monster. Our heroes are victorious, but they are then marked by this monster's master, Grenade. Grenade is perhaps the most interesting Vandal. What makes Grenade so interesting is the conflict of the Vandal that he is versus the Vandal that he wants to be. Grenade is strong, fearsome, and angry. It is within his nature to be hot and rash, a brute, but what he actually wants to be is cold and calculating, a Machiavelli villain. He so wants to be what his nature is against, that he even forms a shell around his body daily in order to contain his chaotic nature. But why though? Why is Grenade fighting against his true nature? It is Grenade's belief that it is the very nature of the Vandals that he has that will be their downfall. Their nature is to think only about themselves and to take from everyone else who is weaker than them. Their nature is to be a brute. Beltors, the main villain of the story, is the exemplar of this nature, and being the exemplar of this nature that Grenade disagrees with, he of course hates him. In order to prevent, in his view, the downfall of his race, he has changed himself to his ideals, his morals, and surrounded himself with others, regardless of brute strength. Two examples are of course Kisu, an intelligent human, and Downgull, a weak Vandal that acts as Grenade's secretary and emotional support as he basically just beats the living shit out of him. Now, that is Grenade, the most interesting Vandal, but what do others think about him? Very few Vandals are on board with Grenade's morals. Many of them think of him as weak, while others know and respect his strength, but just think that he is foolish for the path that he has chosen. Grenade truly is the most interesting Vandal, and after my tree guy right here, he is my second favorite of the series. Anyway, Beet and Pola enter into this port city of Lido, I don't know how to say it, in order to find others to join their team. While they're there, they meet our cool pal Slade, they banter for a bit, Beet falls asleep, and when he awakes, the town is under attack by Grenade. Pola then gets poisoned, Grenade attempts to trap Beet and fails, and that's when Beltors, the king of tragedy, the Vandal that killed Beet once before, appears. When Beltors appears, his goal is basically to mock Grenade and to provoke him into a fight. Beltors challenges Grenade for the right to fight Beet. He wants Grenade to fight him in a way to give in to his Vandal nature, thus making Grenade lose in a moral battle. But Grenade actually maintains his cool in this situation and walks away. Clearly, Beltors is not happy with this result. With no intention of fighting Beet, Beltors then speaks to him casually, but Beet has no intention of letting the guy that fought against his heroes and quote-unquote killed him before go away. The fight with Beltors then begins. Now, what does need to be noted though is that Beltors is not the same Vandal he was 3 years ago. When Beltors fought the Xenon Warriors, he was a 4-star Vandal. Right now, he's a 7-star Vandal. Just like Beet, he has massively improved in these last 3 years. Now in this fight, Beet displays what makes him special. He fights using 2 Saiga at once, and he actually catches his opponent off guard. He also jogs Beltors' memory to realize who the boy he is fighting truly is, and he gets slammed to the ground by our boy using his brother's Saiga. It appears that Beet has won, but it's not over yet. As we know, Beet can use the 5 Saiga that was gifted to him, but that doesn't mean that he can competently use them. Basically, Beet is manifesting weaker copies of what his hero Saiga were. The very Excellion blade that Beet used against Beltors was too weak even for Beltors to consider a threat worth defending, and after using it, it falls apart. Proven to be the weaker opponent, Beltors then makes his move. Our hero gets thrashed around, and the Beet Warriors are about to die, but again, our good pal Slade intervenes. Slade saves Beet and Pola from Beltors' wrath, and exhausted from using his Saiga, Beet falls asleep. Their escape is short-lived though, as Beltors is still in hot pursuit. Beet and Pola flee, and then Slade takes on the Vandal by himself. Using his invisible Saiga, Slade is about to get some slices, but he too is no match. Meanwhile, Beet gets a pep talk from his Saiga. Yeah, so while Beet is sleeping, he gets like this dream kind of thing where the different Saiga are talking to him, and it's kind of weird, but it represents the Xenon Warriors, and they're actually basically giving him a pep talk and encouraging him to not give up. It's actually pretty cool to see these weapons talking to him, and with Beet's confidence restored, so does the Excellion blade. Upon awakening, Beet finds Pola struggling to fight the poison injected into her by Grenade, and left alone, she would die, but thankfully using the Shield Saga, the poison is expelled from her body. Beet then confronts his old enemy, and using his enemy's confidence against him, he is able to do what the Xenon warriors couldn't. He is able to defeat Beltors. Except, not really. This is when we discover that the Beltors that Beet was fighting against wasn't really Beltors. It was his Phantom. Phantoms are basically puppets made from dead vandals and monsters that are manipulated by their masters. Phantoms are much weaker, but for Beltors, he's able to manifest level 5 and level 6 star Phantoms. That's pretty good. If his puppets are that high of a level, and they are weaker than their master, then Beltors must be super freaking powerful. Anyway, after defeating the Phantom, the Beet Warriors then set out to Trowana in search for the third member of the team. And within this country, Beet will meet again his old friend Kisu and a Vandal that controls the Black Horizon, Grenade. After crossing a river to get to Trowana, our heroes get ambushed by this spider-looking guy working for Grenade. Compared to Beltors, he's weak sauce, but he's not the only Vandal that Grenade sends towards Beet's way. Alright guys, so now it's time we get introduced to the cool, the flashy Frosty. Flashy Frosty is a nearly immortal assassin. His body is basically a tool that he uses to fight while he keeps his core, his true self, within it. When damaged, he can even regrow his puppet body, making it very difficult to kill him. Sent after Beet, Frosty displays how fearsome he is. His whole body is a weapon, and he can shoot biological bullets. Beet is only safe from death because of the Vandal's weakness towards cute animals and just cute things in general. After this, Beet then meets up with Kisu, who we know is working with Grenade at this time, but Beet doesn't know that yet. He fools Beet and Pola into thinking that he saves their lives from a Vandal, and he then tries to help the two escape in secret, but his plan fails. Kisu then reveals that he has joined Grenade's side, and Beet then fails to destroy Frosty's core. Frosty then self-destructs his puppet body, nearly killing Beet, but thanks to Blue Zam's axe and Alcide's gun, Beet is able to survive. Facing up against Frosty again, Beet fights gun to gun, mano a mano, and manages to destroy his puppet body. Frosty the Immortal thinks that he can escape, but our hero proves that he truly isn't the immortal he thought he was. Now from here we have Kisu's reconciliation with his betrayal, him confronting the Vandal that made him switch to Grenade's side, and also the introduction to Milfa, the Broadbuster, who goes after both Busters and Vandals. But after this though, the Beet Warriors then go over to Grenade's castle in order to stop him. But when they get there, there's a problem. When our heroes arrive, the castle is in ruins. Upset by Beet's actions and the betrayal of Kisu, Grenade was unable to control his anger, and he destroys both his own castle and his own minions. Kisu is then captured by Grenade to talk, and man does he look pissed. He actually pardons Kisu for his betrayal, and he then reveals why he's been using Kisu. Grenade has been using Kisu's knowledge of language in order to gain information from these ancient ruins, in order to build his own competitor to the Dark House of Sorcery. He will be able to create his own monsters to fight against the vision of the Vandals that he disagrees with in order to make his own vision supreme. Again, when I said that Grenade is the most interesting Vandal in the whole series, I wasn't lying. He is a flawed villain that really grabs your attention that Beltors really can't. He's in constant conflict with both himself, other Vandals, and humans, and if he actually just manages to control his anger, control the Vandal nature within him, he might actually be able to get what he wants. But alas, he can't. Angered by Kisu's refusal to join back and Beet calling him a man, Grenade's mind breaks. He destroys the very thing that will help him succeed with toppling the current regime of Vandals, and then we get a clear look of Grenade's true form. Grenade's true form is badass. This is what Grenade actually looks like. A buff unicorn's Batman motherfucker. I know that Beltors is the main villain of the series. Man, it should have just been Grenade. Grenade is fast, he is strong, and his body is built to withstand almost anything. And when he is holding Beet by his arm right here, I actually feel afraid that he's going to break and pull off this child's arm. Grenade is not to be messed with, and it is only with the use of Blue Zam's axe does Beet have a fighting chance. Bringing out the axe, our boy is able to finally break through the Vandal's strong exterior, but to both the Vandal and the spectators, our hero's efforts appear fruitless. It takes a lot of energy for Beet to wield this axe, and even though it can break through Grenade's skin, it can't go deep enough to cause enough damage. All that our intelligent villain has to do is to wait until his opponent exhausts himself, and he will win. It appears that the bad guys are going to win. But then a weakness is found. The greatest weakness that a Vandal has is their horns. It is the thing that allows a Vandal to control the dark power, and without it, Grenade will fall. Using their combined efforts, with Kisu dispelling the Vandal's dark attack, Pola combusting the Vandal's right arm, and Beet landing Blue Zam's axe onto the Vandal's horn, the horn is broken. Grenade gives one last hurrah against his enemy, but with the aid of a mysterious voice from afar, Beet delivers the final blow, defeating Grenade. Our villain reflects on his failure, he prepares himself to self-destruct, and he finally dies in the skies by the use of the newly arriving Milfa Saiga. Our heroes rest while holding each other's hands, which is weird. And now the skies of the Black Horizon open up, but briefly. Grenade's remaining monsters are still producing the black smoke into the skies, but in time, they will get defeated and the sky will return clear again. In the meantime, Milfa cuffs Kisu for his criminal betrayal. You know, he's still kind of a bad guy, he's on the run, but she cuffs him when she sees that he has no intention of running away, and now our heroes are off to Grancista, the headquarters of the Vandel Busters, and they are going there in order for Kisu to receive both punishment and his final redemption for his betrayal. Now, in a similar fashion to the ending of the fight with Beltors' Phantom, where they had to cross a river to get to Trawana, our heroes are now going to have to travel over the ocean after the defeat of Grenade. So, what awaits our heroes next? Well, in order to find out, you'll have to come back again next time in part 3. I hope to see you guys there. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you then.